Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of my Minecraft Survival Let's Play series. Today's episode is just going to be basically a continuation of episode 1, which is just going to be a guided walkthrough tour of my world. In the first episode, I showed you basically all of the buildings that I have made in this world, and today's episode is going to be going through most of my farms. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and let's get into it. So I am over here at my very simple basic gold farm. Basically the way that this works is there are turtle eggs in here that the zombie pigmen are drawn to once they spawn, and these iron golems are here so that if any magma cubes spawn up here, they run at the iron golem and then fall to their death as they jump off. This gold farm is pretty slow, it's not terrible, but I will definitely be making an updated one when gold becomes much more valuable. In the 1.16 update. I originally had this as a farm where I would slay the pigmen myself, but I've later changed it to an AFK farm so the pigmen will just fall to their death and the items get sorted out into these chests down here. Now, flying into my wither skeleton farm, this is one of the two nether farms I have here on the server, and this one is a much bigger project than the gold farm, but those are my two nether projects I have, as gas destroys my buttons. But basically, I tried to spawn proof this area as best as possible, place buttons all around this nether fortress, all around here, and then all around the farm. I placed all this lava here. It's not perfect, but it does what I needed to do to get me some wither skeletons. How the inside of the farm works is that there are wither roses here, where all of the mobs will spawn, wither skeletons included, and wither roses kill every other mob except for wither skeletons. So the wither skeletons will stay alive, then they will get scared by these dogs here and run at the over here, and then they will get lured to the iron golem, where they will fall down there into my killing chamber, where they will be one hit. Unfortunately, in the 1.16 update, wither roses are no longer spawnable, so I will have to make a new wither rose farm, and I'll have to get rid of this one. Or wither skeleton, sorry. But this down here is my killing chamber. Pretty simple. Looks like there might be a mob in here. So, and see, they just come down here, and actually got a decent amount of them that time. Then all their drops are just collected down here. I'll AFK down there for about 15 minutes at a time while I'm doing some work on my computer. And I'll just come up here and slay them, and I get a decent amount of skulls from that. It's definitely not perfect, but it does what I need it to do. The third farm that we will be looking at is actually a farm that I did not show in the cinematic tour. I just thought that it was pretty small and didn't really need to be shown. But this is my flower farm. It gets a bunch of different kinds of flowers. I put it in a good spot in the flower biome so it would get all the different kinds. The flying machine has stopped because of the chunks got unloaded, so flying machine stopped. Here, let me reboot those. And basically the way that this works is that this goes along, picking up all the flowers, and gets most of them. There might be a flower that falls out every once in a while. But it gets to this side here, then it'll get sent back as it drops all the flowers off here. And then once it gets to this side, when it goes over this observer activates a bunch of dispensers all along this that bone meal the ground all around this, spawning in a bunch of flowers, like that. Looks like we're out of bone meal over here, I'll have to restock this. But this farm actually produces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different kinds of flowers. So it's in a really good spot, and it's pretty simple. So I just emptied this, actually. So yeah, that's my flower farm. Very simple, but helps me get all the dyes that I need. Now, flying in here to my drowned farm, this is actually a farm I made pretty recently. I actually didn't use anyone's design. I did see someone's design, and I just kind of made my own off of it. I never really used a tutorial, but basically it's just over a river biome. I marked out the river biome down here where I could build this, And the way that it works is that the drowns get pushed down here. Since this is just flowing water and they can spawn in flowing water, the water slowly flows them down to here, then the water pushes them into here, and then they get pushed all the way down this, where the killing chamber is down at the end there. This is how I stock my trident shop. So it's a really simple way to do it. I don't think there's many improvements that could be made to this other than it being a little bigger, but yeah, it gets what I need to get done, and I don't know, I think the design looks good. Now moving along to my guardian farm, we're actually going to start here in the nether and go down my tunnel to it. I actually made this farm very early on in the season because I saw a design that was pretty simple. I don't remember where I saw it, but I did like the design and I figured I could build it early on, which I could. That goes to my AFK spot for it, and this goes to the collection area. So I'll show you the collection area first. In here, basically the guardians get killed up there, and then the items flow down here and get sorted out. This is very quick, despite it being very simple. Guardians spawn very fast since there's nothing else to spawn, and then once they're killed, all their jobs just get filtered out down into here, and there's an overflow part there, which I just need to add some lava to. So let's look at the top part of it. I'll go up to my AFK spot and look down from there. This farm has let me build a lot of things. Almost all of my nether tunnels and a few of my builds are made out of prismarine. So without this farm, I definitely would not have been able to do that. So here, basically the way it works is that there's just soul sand down here, where the guardians swim into, and then they flow up here, where they get pushed into water streams, and then the water streams just flow them onto campfires. And since campfires aren't full blocks, they will kill the guardians, and then the guardians drop down into the hoppers below, where the items are collected. And that's how this guardian farm works. Now I am up here at the AFK spot for my Wither Rose farm. This is another farm where I didn't actually use anyone's design. I just kind of saw a design and did my best to make it myself. There's definitely some problems with the design. I still need to repair these hoppers here. I haven't repaired them in a bit. But the reason I made this farm is because in a lot of my builds I use dark prismarine, and dark prismarine uses a ton of black dye, and is 1 black dye per piece of dark prismarine, so that's very expensive. So I've been using this a lot. I originally made it the platform here, but the Endermen weren't taking enough fall damage when they landed by the Wither, so I needed to make the platform up there. So I will get rid of this platform here. But basically the way it works is that there's just a Wither stuck in the end portal here, and usually there are more hoppers there where the Endermen land on. And the Endermen land on there, and then they get killed by the Wither. Then the Wither Roses drop down and get sorted out into that chest there, and the Ender Pearls get dropped into the void. And yeah, that's how this farm works. It's pretty simple, but very useful for my builds. So here I am at the final farming project, which I will show you in this video. This is where I mainly AFK. This has the main farms that I use the most, like my pumpkin farm here that goes all the way up to build height. This is where I get all of my pumpkins to trade with my villagers. Very simple design. The observers just detect when the pumpkin grows, and then it activates the pistons, and the pistons fire and break the pumpkins, and the majority of the pumpkins fall down here, and then they get sent over to my collection area over there where they are sorted out. Here is my kelp farm. I did design this one myself. It does have quite a few losses, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't need that much kelp. I do use dried kelp as a fuel source, but I get plenty of kelp just from this farm. And then again, those get smelted here, and then they get sent over to my collection area. Over right here, we have my honey farm. It took me quite a while to collect all these full beehives, but it's definitely been worth it. I get huge amounts of honey and honeycomb from this farm. And again, that all gets collected here and sent over and sorted in my collection system. These chest hoppers here are just for refilling the bottles when I need to. but I have plenty in stock right now. This right here is my very simple iron farm. I do end up using a lot of iron, but I don't really need a huge iron farm just because of how much I AFK here. So yeah, it's pretty simple. The skeleton scares the villagers, and then every once in a while the villagers will spawn an iron golem here, and then he gets sent down and killed in this killing chamber here. And again, those items get sent to my collection area. This here is a sea pickle farm that I just made very recently. I just needed some sea pickles, so I decided to make this. It's pretty simple. Looks like some of my coral actually died here. I'll have to fix that. But the way this works, I think I'm out of bone meal right now. But the bone meal gets dispensed on there, and then it'll spread out more sea pickles, and then with proper timing, these pistons will get set off, and then they will just push the blocks back and forth, breaking the pickles, and then the pickles will flow down into these hoppers here, where they are collected into this chest. This is the timing system I have for the pistons here. The next farm we look at is this cactus farm. Again, very, very simple cactus farm. It's pretty small too, but I don't need a whole ton of cactus. A third of it gets sent just as cactus over to my collection area. A third of it gets smelted down there and then sent over as green dye. And a third of it gets turned into bone meal and then sent over there. Here we have my mob farm. This was built on a witch hut and was originally meant to be a witch farm, but my design messed up and it just ended up spawning more mobs than witches. So I just decided to make it bigger and make it a general mob farm. And I get bones, rotten flesh, gunpowder, arrows, stuff like that from this farm here. And then the last two things here, this is my crop farm. Basically my villagers, just when these are fully grown, they break the crops and then replant them, and then these minecart hoppers run through and pick up all the crops that they break and drop on the ground, and then that all gets collected in here and gets sorted down into there. I don't send that over to my collection area, I just send all the extra stuff that gets sent into bone meal over to my collection area. I keep all the crops there. And then the last one I have here is my wool farm. There is a bug where sometimes the sheep will die and their minecart disappears as well. I don't know why, but those three have died. I've already had to replace some. But yeah, this produces a good amount. I actually just emptied this a couple days ago. So yeah, it produces a really good amount of wool for all the carpet and wool that I need for all my projects. And then here I'll show you the collection area for all of these items that I showed you. Dropped on here. I just built this 2 days ago. So that's why there's no water elevator going back up yet. There also happened to be a slime chunk down in this room here. So let me get rid of these guys real quick. And then this is where all the items get sent down to and sorted. Massive pumpkin farm sends all the pumpkins down here. And then the kelp here. Iron, which I just emptied earlier. Poppies, honey bottles, honeycomb, green dye, cactus, bone meal, rotten flesh, bones, gunpowder, and arrows. And then I have plenty of room left for other farms that I'm going to build in the future. Now I'm back here at my base, and that is going to do it for this episode 2 of my survival Let's Play series. This is part 2 of 2 of my general world tour of all the things that I've built in my world so far. We looked at almost all the farms that I have on the server. Obviously there are some small ones that I use that I didn't really show, but I showed basically everything. And then now look forward to future episodes where you'll be seeing me doing some work on some new projects, unlike these last 2 episodes, which have just been updating you on all the things that I have done. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and be sure to check out episode 1 and the cinematic tour. Those 2 links will be in the description, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.